Matter is coming, and it's going to change your smart home, but what exactly is it, and what does it mean for your existing smart home, or even your future smart home? Today, I'm going to try to address all of the common questions around Matter and hopefully just make it make some sense. Let's go. Sponsored by the Signals for HomeKit app. More on that in a minute. Yo, what's up guys? Thanks so much for joining me. If this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Shane and this channel is all about building an easy smart home using Apple's HomeKit with new videos published every Sunday right here. Wait, are we gonna have to change our intro now? Building an easy smart home using Matter with new videos published every Sunday right here. Hey, like I said, the smart home is changing, and that might mean some changes for this channel. I don't know. Frankly, there are still a lot of questions up in the air regarding Matter, but one thing's for sure, it's coming. And probably pretty soon. So it's currently January at the time we're recording this video, and the annual Consumer Electronics Show, or CES, just wrapped up. One very common theme that we saw across many of the smart home vendors this year was Matter. Many were talking about it, and many have already committed to supporting Matter once it officially rolls out, which should be mid-2022. Now, this is a pretty confusing topic, especially right now, but I'm gonna dive pretty deep and try to answer all of your questions about Matter. I'm gonna put chapters below in case you wanna skip to any certain parts of this video. So let's just go ahead and jump in and start from the ground up. What is Matter? Matter is a new standard for smart home accessories. It's being developed by Apple, Google, Amazon, and many other industry leaders. Matter promises reliable, secure connectivity that works seamlessly across different smart home ecosystems. Now, Matter is not a protocol like Wi-Fi or Thread or Zigbee. Matter is an application layer that sort of sits on top of multiple, different protocols. We'll dive deeper into all that in just a second. The big question is why? Why do we need Matter? And why now? So standards are typically a good thing. Right now, the smart home market is very fragmented and, has been for years. You buy something that works with Alexa and it doesn't work with HomeKit or vice versa. So us, the consumers, are often left frustrated and confused. There's no interoperability across platforms and devices. This also makes things pretty difficult if you think about it for the developers of these smart home products. So for example, if you buy a smart light strip that, let's just say, happens to support Alexa, Google Assistant, and HomeKit, that means that the developers or the manufacturer of that light strip is having to develop for 3 different platforms in parallel. This requires, of course, time, money, and resources. So let's imagine that that company makes the same light strip, but now only has to support one platform or standard, Matter. That means they should have a lot more time, money, and resources to focus on building, the best experiences for their products or apps or services. They're no longer having to develop for various separate platforms, and that could ultimately mean better products for us with more choices available that will just work. You'll no longer have to wonder if this light strip supports HomeKit or Alexa or whatever it is you like to use. With Matter, it won't matter. If a light strip is Matter certified, you see that little Matter logo on the box, and it is guaranteed to work with Alexa, with Google, with HomeKit. So you can already probably start to see the benefits for both manufacturers and consumers. And not to mention the benefits for builders or professional installers also. Builders can use Matter certified products and rest assured that their customers will be able to utilize these products with whatever smart home platform they prefer. So in a nutshell, Matter simplifies development for manufacturers and increases compatibility for us, the consumers. Seems kind of like a win-win for everyone, right? Matter takes an open source development approach, leveraging proven technologies, including HomeKit, among others from Google, Amazon, and the Connectivity Standards Alliance, formerly known as the Zigbee Alliance. It's built on Internet Protocol version 6 or IP, and at launch, Matter will run on top of Thread, Wi-Fi, and Ethernet, and will also use Bluetooth just for commissioning and, adding devices to your Matter network. Matter version 1.0 will target Wi-Fi and Thread as the main wireless protocols. Now, Thread is used for battery-operated devices like sensors, locks, things like that. Wi-Fi is typically going to be used for devices requiring larger battery usage or higher bandwidth, like cameras. Matter is designed to run securely and communicate locally. Yes, locally. Very much like HomeKit currently does. So my HomeKit users out there will be very happy about this one. This means that by design, Matter certified products will not require any cloud communication like Amazon and Google Smart Home products currently do. So there again, HomeKit users, don't worry, you won't have to sacrifice the privacy that you've grown to love about HomeKit. Now with Matter, cloud communication is still an option, so devices can still connect back to their own cloud or services if their app requires it, for like added value or support. So essentially, local control is a requirement for Matter, and additional cloud connectivity is optional for, additional features and services through the manufacturer's app. Again, very similar to how HomeKit currently operates. Thread can support hundreds of products per network. It's designed for very low power operation. There are mainly 3 different Thread device types that you can have in your, Thread network: a Thread border router, a Thread router, and a Thread end device. A Thread border router connects your Thread network to other IP-based networks such as Wi-Fi or Ethernet. That's how your Thread devices can communicate with, your Wi-Fi devices. Your Thread network can support multiple Thread border routers, which could be, HomePod Minis, the new Apple TV 4Ks, Google Nest Hubs, second generation, Nanoleaf shapes and elements can now act as Thread border routers, and even some Wi-Fi routers now, like the Eero, I believe, are supported, as Thread border routers also. Basically, these Thread border routers connect your Thread network, like I said, to the internet. Now next you have a full Thread device or a Thread router, not to be confused with a Thread border router. So a Thread router can join and route services to other Thread devices in your Thread network. It can be used to extend your Thread mesh network. So these generally require more resources and is usually a device with a constant power source, something like a smart bulb or a smart plug. And finally, we have minimal Thread devices or Thread end devices. These might sleep to preserve energy. They're often battery powered and cannot forward a signal or extend your mesh network. So all these Thread devices and that Thread mesh network that you're building kind of goes on behind the scenes where you don't really even see or know what's going on. Now, someone did ask me over on Instagram recently if I know of any good apps to visualize your Thread network. And right now, at the time of recording this, the best one that I've used is the Eve app. Eve has a free app and it has a Thread network section that you can go to and gives you information about all of the Thread devices on your network. This currently is for HomeKit over Thread, but again, at the moment, this is the one that I use when I'm trying to see, what's going on with my Thread network and what devices are connected to what and all that good stuff. Now, moving on, speaking of third-party HomeKit apps, what about all these once Matter rolls out? Will we still be able to use these apps? Well, Apple says that existing HomeKit APIs automatically work with Matter-enabled accessories, so developers won't need to make any changes to their iOS or iPadOS apps that support HomeKit. No code changes needed. So that's very good news for the app developers and good news for us. That means that even once Matter rolls out, we'll still be able to use the HomeKit apps that we love, like the Signals for HomeKit app. For example, I'm a big fan of the Signals app. This app gives you the ability to flash any combination of your existing HomeKit lights with a simple tap or a Siri voice command, set up a dinner time signal or a time to go signal to flash the lights around the house and get everyone's attention. And with the Signals for HomeKit app now on the Mac, you can take your automations even further, like using your HomeKit motion sensors, leak sensors, buttons, security systems, and more to automatically trigger your signals. And if that wasn't enough, the developer even added the ability to trigger any of your personal Siri shortcuts with HomeKit accessories. That is huge. I actually did a whole video on that not too long ago. Definitely worth checking out. I'll put a link to that below. Big thanks to the Signals for HomeKit app for sponsoring this video and supporting this channel, and just for making an awesome app for us HomeKit users. Download the app by using the link down in the description below. So what about my existing smart home devices? You might have a house full of Philips Hue lights or maybe Aqara sensors like I do. These both utilize Zigbee to connect, to their own proprietary hub. Many smart home products use Zigbee or other technologies. Now, to help solve this, one of the device types supported by Matter is bridges. So essentially, Aqara and Philips Hue can roll out a firmware update to their bridges, which they both actually have claimed they will in fact do, and then all of those child accessories connected to that bridge will be able to communicate and interact with all of your Matter devices. Hope that makes sense. The downside here is that this creates a parallel mesh network. For example, your existing Zigbee mesh network of, say, Philips Hue bulbs or Aqara sensors would not extend the reach of a Matter-based thread network. They can communicate with each other, but not really build off and extend, those mesh networks. Now, what if you have existing smart home devices that don't end up getting Matter certified? Well, if you have HomeKit products, for example, those products will still continue to work with HomeKit. And I expect that'll be the same for other ecosystems like Google and Amazon. In short, your existing smart home devices will continue to work just as they do right now for a long time, for the foreseeable future at least. What about the certifications for new products? This is where it starts to get a little confusing for me, and much of this is just still unclear. First, let's cover what we know. Again, existing HomeKit certified products will still work in HomeKit. And new Matter certified products will also work out of the box with HomeKit. So essentially, if a product supports Matter, it should support HomeKit. That we know. But will Matter certified products still also need to get HomeKit certified separately? And what about the non-Matter products? Will Apple still certify non-Matter products for HomeKit? I'm not really sure about this. These details, like I said, just haven't been released yet, so I guess we'll just kind of have to wait and see how it all plays out. I can assume that maybe some manufacturers might not want to go through the Matter certification process and still choose to only support one of the smart home platforms like Google Assistant or HomeKit only for whatever reason. I don't know, but that is kind of the exact thing that, the new Matter standard is trying to fix. One red flag that I see through all this is that it appears to be quite expensive for companies to jump on board this new standard. At $20,000 a year US to be a participant, I don't know, that just does seem like it might shut out some of the smaller companies. I'm just kind of hoping this isn't some sort of money grab. I want to be optimistic. I think having a smart home standard is very much needed, seemingly beneficial for everyone involved, and apparently quite beneficial for those overseeing this new standard. Now, we should see Matter roll out by the middle of 2022. The Connectivity Standards Alliance should formally be releasing certification and testing tools and the Matter SDK. The rollout has already been pushed back a couple of times, but I do suspect that this is the year we're going to see some Matter certified products become available to purchase. One question I often get is, should I buy something now or should I wait for a Thread or a Matter equivalent? And here's what I think. In an attempt to future-proof your upcoming purchases, consider buying products from companies that have already committed to supporting Matter. Again, Matter hasn't officially rolled out yet, so you can't buy anything that is Matter certified right now at the time of this recording. But as we saw recently at CES, many companies have committed to supporting Matter once that does roll out. Some companies have been preparing for this for quite some time, like Nanoleaf and Eve, who have been building Thread into all of their new products. Other brands like Aqara and Philips Hue plan to roll out a firmware update to their hubs to support Matter, resulting in all of their, existing Zigbee connected devices to also support Matter. Nowadays, there's a long list of brands that have committed to supporting Matter to include Arlo, Belkin, Schlage, Singlid, and Toya, just to name a few. So maybe do a little research on the products and brands that you're considering to purchase. Find out if they have committed to supporting Matter, and maybe even what protocols they're using, like are they using Thread or Wi-Fi, and kind of make a decision based off of that. Will Matter fix all of our smart home problems? I don't know. Tell me what you think in the comments below. One thing's for sure, it's coming, and this year is likely to be a monumental year for the smart home industry. If you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time. We can walk through this new smart home landscape together with new videos and live streams published every Sunday. I hope this video brought some clarity to Matter and everything that's going on in the smart home space. I know it's confusing. There's a lot of information and it's just so unclear. So if you stuck with me this long, I appreciate it. I hope this video did help. Thanks again to the Signals for HomeKit app for sponsoring today's video. Again, check that link below to download the app today. If you're new to HomeKit, check out my HomeKit 101 Getting Started playlist right over here. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video.